Hello everybody, and welcome to Ancient Architects. Please subscribe to the channel for regular content on ancient architecture, as well as all the latest news from the world of archaeology. Just a couple of weeks ago I visited Karahan Tepe for the very first time, the 11,400-year-old site in southeastern Turkey. I looked down into the amazing pillared building, gazed across at the huge central structure, and then I got to walk around the entire site. And it's an active excavation site, with dozens of people hard at work, carefully peeling back the soil, stones and rubble to unveil the incredible architecture and artefacts that have been lying in wait for thousands of years. You only have to look at aerial photos to see the transformation of the landscape. It once looked like an ordinary limestone hill, albeit with a handful of bizarre T-shaped pillars poking through the surface, stones that were once believed to be tombstones of an historic cemetery. Every year the excavation expands, and this year it's advancing westwards up the hill, building on the work from 2023. At one point I watched for what felt like ages as two men carefully excavated a T-shaped pillar towards the top of the hill, close to the amazing human statue that was discovered last year. But whilst observing the detail, I had totally overlooked the bigger picture. I soon realised I wasn't just watching the excavation of a simple pillar, but a pillar that was part of another large oval building at Karahan Tepe. This part of the site looks to be the main focus of excavations in 2024, and I got the feeling I was watching an historic event. This structure was built higher up the hill, above buildings AA, AB and AD, and above the surrounding domestic structures excavated so far. It's situated in a prime position in the settlement, and it's big, and we already know that the finds inside are truly incredible. So let's go back to the satellite pictures and plot it on the map. Now, this is only a rough estimate based on photos and video footage available, but the structure looks to have a circular or oval shape, and I estimate its diameter looks to be between 15 and 20 metres, although I have seen some speculate it's actually more than 30. So far, only a small portion has been uncovered. Unsurprisingly, it's in a damaged state, but we're certainly looking at another special purpose building and not a domestic structure. We can see two large fallen and broken T-shaped pillars, and these were likely the central roof supports, just like what we see in structure AD. Although smashed into pieces, and clearly in a very brittle state, the incredibly careful excavation has maintained their T-shaped form. They've both fallen like dominoes, and we're lucky they've survived. It is hard to estimate their size, but knowing the size of this statue is 2.3 metres, well, the central pillars could have once stood at least 5 metres in height. We can also see perimeter pillars, and low benches are set between them. The amazing human figure discovered last year is positioned to look like he's sat on the bench. As we can see, the perimeter pillars are damaged, their T-heads long gone, and they were probably once poking through the ground and broken off by later cultures or farmers. The building's perimeter wall is set behind the pillars, and it's made up of small flat limestone blocks, and just like other sites in the pre-pottery Neolithic, they were likely mortared together. The floor of the building looks to be bedrock, not made up of multiple slabs like we see elsewhere at Karahan Tepe, and it could have been lined with terrazzo. It is hard to tell from a distance, but it does look incredibly flat. Last year, this area of the enclosure made the news, and now we know it's just a small part of a large enclosure. It almost looks like some kind of altar or offering space. As well as the famous human statue with ribs showing and holding his phallus, an incredible statue of a vulture was also found. Standing more than half a metre in height, it's now on display in Llanfair Museum, and it was great to see this close up 2 weeks ago. Of course, we don't know what's hiding under the mass of rubble, but this area does look to be a focal point. The man stands next to a pillar, and there's another one around 3 metres to the left. Although broken and eroded, there are traces of decoration on the pillars, and they could have once been anthropomorphic. Between these pillars are a selection of interesting artefacts. On the floor we can see a large stone plate, and next to the vulture is a small platform with stone vessels placed on top. And behind this raised area is a so-called porthole stone. Behind this stone is the enclosure wall, so it wasn't a window or door. Maybe an object was kept inside the hole, maybe a human skull like what we see at Tepe, or maybe a human head statue. This human head sculpture that's now on display in Llanfair Museum was found in this niche in Karahan Tepe's largest building AD, which is also between 2 pillars. So this does seem like a focal point of the enclosure, but of course we'll find out more as excavations progress. Looking from another angle, and there looks to be another perimeter pillar poking through the rubble. Looking back through the footage, and based on the assumption the perimeter pillars were equally spaced out, and it seems a central pillar has fallen onto one of them, completely destroying it. The next pillar in the sequence is the one I was watching being excavated. Already we can start to visualise the size and shape of this structure, and it is a big one. Looking at this aerial photo, and you can see what looks like a depression on the hill, which I think could be a rough outline of this new enclosure. Going back to the south side and facing the human statue, and I think we're stood on the southern edge of the perimeter wall. Well, there or thereabouts. Again, we can see it's a large enclosure, oval in shape, higher in elevation than the famous buildings, and it was clearly important. At this time, that's everything I can say about this new structure. I imagine we're still a couple of years away from seeing it in its glory, but already it completely changes the dynamics of the site. Soon it will look something like this, and then Karahan Tepe will continue to expand. We're no longer looking at just one large oval special purpose building surrounded by rock-cut pits and domestic structures. No, higher up the hill, we now know there's another large building. The complexities of this truly ancient settlement are slowly coming to light, but as you wander around Karahan Tepe and look over the beautiful landscape, you can see so many T-shaped pillars poking through the ground. This is an enormous settlement, and in the coming years, I can't wait to see how the site transforms. But for now, it's all eyes on this large special purpose building and the secrets it's hiding. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Ancient Architects. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.